Hey guys, this is Joshua Seth, voice of Tai on Digimon, and you're listening to Anime Secrets.
Toku Secrets is a podcast run by the Anime Secrets website. Check us out at animesecrets.org for more anime, video game, tokusatsu content. Remember to follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or wherever you listen to podcasts today.
Oh, yes! This is Goldar, and you're listening to Toku Secrets Podcast. Don't tune us out, tune us in!
Welcome to Toku Secrets. Join us as we journey into the marvelous world of Super Sentai, Kamen Rider, Power Rangers, and many other tokusatsu. Get ready for the adventure of a lifetime. It's Morphin time! Link to the Morphin. I'm Nathan Desai, the dazzling adventurer, Spoken Silver.
I'm Patrick Allen, I'm Shinken Red.
And I'm Ridwan Merchant, Gokai Red.
And I'm Anthony Davis, also known as Curie Green. And we're Toku Secrets.
What is going on, Toku Faithful? This is the Toku Secrets Podcast presented by animesecrets.org, and today we are doing episode number 9 of our review series of Chouriki Sentai Ohranger, and it's not just episode 9, but it is also our final episode reviewing Ohranger, because guess what, everyone? This is the Endgame Arc. We are going to be done with Ohranger after this.
Yes!
I'm sure
Finally!
everybody's happy about that.
Woo!
Yeah, I mean, thankfully we were able to get this a bit faster than we do with some of our other Sentai. But yeah, we've reached the end. We're taking a look at the Endgame Arc, which is episodes 45 through 48. And we're of course going to end this with giving tier rankings for, well, we'll talk about a little bit about the villains and some supporting characters at the end, and then give the final tier rankings of these Rangers, which are more than likely going to be the exact same as they've been the whole series, but it's part of the format, so we kind of got to stick to it. But yeah, with that being said, we're still going to have a lot to talk about, for better or worse. So let's jump right in. We're going to recap with what happened last time, where Bulldog got killed in a duel with Bomber the Great, but then he got revived by his parents. They transferred the remaining energy to him, and he underwent a massive change and assumed an adult form. Hysteria's niece, Princess Multiwash, she arrived on Earth and teamed up with Bulldog, and they overthrew Bomber the Great. They turned him into a mindless robot and sent him to fight the Ohrangers, basically leading to his death. Then the two cousins decided to have a Southern American wedding and get married, even though they're cousins, because we got robot incest now. And they're declared Cruiser Boldon and Empress Multiwa, so they're the new leaders of the Baranoia, and they're pretty much aiming to conquer Earth. That brings us to episode 45, Destruction, the superpowered base. This starts the Endgame Arc, where it begins with the Baranoia unleashing a centipede-like machine beast called Baramicron. It emits energy known as dark particles that can basically cause machines to go haywire, and it causes a bunch of mechanical objects like bulldozers and other types of machines to go on rampages against humans by themselves. Voldon and Multiwa, they engage in a full-scale attack. They try to lure out the Ohrangers. The Ohrangers attempt to fight back in O-Blocker and Red Puncher, but they quickly get taken over by the dark particles themselves. And the Baranoia analyze O-Blocker when it's paralyzed to find the location of the Ohrangers base, which they then commence a full-scale attack on, although Miura is able to evacuate Ohranger Robo and Tackle Boy before the Baranoia's forces infiltrate and begin to wreck the entire base and attack personnel. The base gets destroyed. The Ohrangers are defeated because the dark particles infiltrate their power braces, which basically renders their powers useless, and they get forced to retreat. And they Shoei and Yuji get captured, and Goro, Juri, and Momo have to continue to flee for their lives. Two interesting things about this episode. We see Shohei pilot the Red Puncher in this episode. It's the only time someone other than O-Red does it. And audience, let me know if I'm going to tell you something that you have never heard in any one of these episodes before. Okay, prepare yourself. Ricky is absent from this episode. I know that just blew your mind, but
I'm
just
heartbroken.
let you know.
Right.
My greatest fear has come true because I thought it would never happen.
No, say it is so. No. No.
Woe is me.
Oh. Whoa. Whoa.
Oh, man.
Anthony, what the heck was that?
Do you not watch SpongeBob?
No.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah, I knew that laugh. I knew that cry from somewhere.
Thank you. At least he got it.
I only watched
I
good
did too.
stuff, sorry. Unless you guys make me watch bad stuff.
SpongeBob was good all the way up until after the movie stuff, and then it started getting suck after that.
Yeah.
I'll beg to differ. Moving on.
That's your opinion, but we'll leave it at that.
We all know my opinions are different than your opinions.
No, everybody feels differently about SpongeBob than you do, but okay.
Yeah.
But,
Everyone's wrong.
yeah, to kind of, but the best way for me to sum up how I feel about this episode is it really has a truly dreadful, unsettling, and gritty feel to it, and it's awesome. Just sucks that I don't care about these characters at all, and therefore cannot emotionally invest myself in any of this.
Yeah. This felt like, oh, cool, this is the first part or the episode of Lightspeed where the base gets destroyed, but I seemingly don't care as much.
Yeah.
Also, when they were running away from Bolt Hunt getting shot at, I was sitting there watching them fear for their lives. I'm like, where the heck is Ricky?
Hey,
not know what's
I was
going
kind of wondering who's going to pop up.
Yeah. I was like, dude, Bolton's taking over there. Where the heck are you?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it really does. It really does frustrate me because when they start attacking the base, like they do a really good job at giving you a feel of dread. Like the music that's playing when the Ohranger Robo and Tackle Boy are being evacuated, and then the Baranoia infiltrate the base and start destroying it. Like it's on par with the Turbo finale where the Piranatrons are just storming the power chamber, or when the battling storm the Lightspeed Rescue Aqua Base. Like it's on par with all of that, but I don't care about any of these characters, so it's impossible for me to get emotionally invested in this.
Yeah, and I think that's the part about this season that makes it hard for me to fully enjoy the parts that I think are good. Because I think out of every Sentai that tries to be grimdark, when Ohranger tries, it succeeds pretty well. It just fumbles because it doesn't bother with character writing. Because that was our complaint with like the first 7 or so episodes, and then kind of everything from Bolt Hunt taking over until now is that it's the grimdark atmosphere the season does is really good. It's just, who are these people? And this is kind of like the culmination of that. We don't care that they're losing here, do we? No.
Yeah.
No.
And you're right. The Turbo finale is a really good comparison because it's the same kind of feels like this. Everything's just falling apart around them. But in Turbo, we like those characters.
Yep.
Yeah.
For the most part. I'm looking at Justin, but
yeah.
Okay, but hang on.
Hmm?
The Ohranger cast or Justin?
I mean, at least Justin has a character. I don't have to like it, but there's a character there.
Yeah, exactly. I feel the same way.
I pick Justin over these guys any day.
Yeah.
Yeah, same.
And that's what really holds this episode back. Because, like, normally an episode like this would be like an 8 or a 9, but because of like the no build-up for the cast, this is like a 6.
Yeah, and I mean, that's been my problem with it altogether, is that these have been held back for quite a while. I mean, I still mix up Sohei and Yuji sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're interchangeable.
I mean, they have like no. I mean, they had like one or two character traits that are different, but it's a chore to keep track of who is who. You know?
Mm-hmm.
And this may sound sad, but ironically enough, when Zio adapted this episode, the Zio episode is actually much more memorable. And you know why, guys? Because it's that episode where Tommy and Tanya get put under that spell that requires them to sing all their lines.
Oh yeah,
That
I remember that.
Oh no.
It was
which
cringy, but I do remember it. Yeah.
say what you will about that episode, but it was memorable. So it
Movie time.
yeah, just but yeah, this I mean, I really want to like this because that scene where the base gets stormed, it really gave me the same feels. And honestly, I would say that like if I cared about these Ohranger characters a little bit more, I probably would actually rank it a little bit higher than maybe just ever so slightly higher than the scene where the Aqua base gets stormed, but probably on par with when the power chamber gets destroyed because the music is on par there. Because I remember, I mean, we'll talk about this more when we eventually review Turbo, but watching the Turbo finale like a couple of months ago, it's still fresh in my mind. Like the music that starts playing when the Piranhatrons are like would be charging toward the power chamber. It is unsettling, and they give a real dreary feel with the music there too. I want to love this episode because it does that. And on top of that, I can't remember another Sentai where something like this has actually been done, where you literally have the villain forces infiltrating a base, killing personnel, and beating up on the mentor. Like Sentai doesn't do that really as much. And like, this came out before Turbo. This came out before Lightspeed Rescue. So this you can arguably say that this is the Sentai that kind of set up that trope. And I want to love it, but you didn't
What
give
did
me any reason to cultivate these characters.
what did like the late 70s, early 80s Sentais that this season is inspired from not do something like this?
I mean, I occasionally I remember seeing the base like get destroyed or something, but never to like a point where like the foot soldiers are going inside and ripping everything apart. It's more like the villain base or like the main villain like shoots some lasers and it starts crumbling around them or something. Like that's happened in the past, but it's never been like a legitimately giving the Rangers a feeling of like legitimately being violated by showing the villains literally going inside and infiltrating what's supposed to be a safe haven.
So this is a first for Tokusatsu almost.
Yeah.
That the base got invaded to the scale and it's not carrying the weight it should.
Yeah.
Man, that's yeah.
I remember them doing it in a Ohranger. They do it in SPD too, where the main villain like takes over the base and then tries to turn the mech form of the base against the city. They do that in both SPD and Ohranger. But yeah, I mean, I think Power Rangers does that a bit more frequently than Super Sentai. Because I mean, the more you think about it, I mean, we see this happen in not just in not just those seasons, but we saw the clock tower get invaded in Power Rangers Time Force.
Yeah.
We
Vengex walks right into Dr. K's laboratory.
Yeah. And even if we want to bring up bad seasons, Glorious's forces infiltrate Hartford's mansion. So I mean,
Force too.
oh yeah, it did. So yeah, Ohranger started this type of trope, and they get the vibes down well, but you don't care about this character, so why should I be invested in this? And I'm sorry I sound like a broken record like that, but I just have to emphasize that I want to love this episode, but it's just really difficult to do so.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I probably agree with Patrick that this is probably just a 6.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. No, I agree with everything you're saying, Nate. Like, there's nothing here that's like out of bound or something I would disagree with. It's just unfortunate that we can't get better writing throughout to help us feel more for it.
Yep. Anyway, let's move on to the second part of the Endgame arc, Earth's Final Day, where the episode begins. Acha and Kocha, they announce that the Ohrangers have fallen. They force Japan to surrender. Humans are being taken hostage by Baranoia's forces. They're all becoming slaves. Goro, Juri, and Momo, they meet Mikio. He was at the base when it was attacked. And the base has been destroyed. And he tells the Rangers that Miura wanted them to flee somewhere where the Baranoia wouldn't find them. Everybody thinks that Miura is dead, but they discover that he survived when they infiltrate a base, and Bulldog reveals that he hasn't been captured. Bulldog tries to use Shohei and Yuji as bait to lure the other O-Rangers into a trap. The Baranoia ambush them, and then Ricky arrives because Ricky is still able to transform. He frees Shohei and Yuji. He fights off the Baranoia, and then the Go Rangers take refuge in King Pyramid. But then Baron Micron comes out. He uses his dark particles on King Pyramid, and Ricky loses his powers. And in you know, this is literally a Deus Ex Machina thing, like quite literally. Doreen prays to Chouriki for help, and that results in King Pyramid flying away toward the homeworld of Chouriki. The O-Rangers are still inside, and the energy from it destroys Bara Micron. Um, Ricky is able to get Doreen and Mikio to safety, but then Doreen falls unconscious, claiming that she's not dying, but she's returning to her homeworld. Doreen's body vanishes. The entire world goes dark because apparently with Doreen gone, Chouriki is draining from Earth, and the O-Rangers are dragged into another dimension as the episode ends. And yeah, that's it for this one. What do we think about it?
I think this had the potential to be really good. I think there was an episode in the last batch that, when paired with this, would have made this a lot more powerful had the writing and the pacing been better. The one where Ricky kind of like went berserk for a little bit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if those had been written more cohesively and maybe had some more build up beyond like one episode of like her kind of feeling that need for sacrifice, this could have been more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this episode kind of creates a bit more of confusion around the lore because it's like Doreen says that her homeworld, the Doreen homeworld, is the homeworld of Chouriki. But wait, I thought the ancient civilization that found Chouriki was separate from the Doreen race. Now all of a sudden, the Doreen race is the one that discovered Chouriki. Like Sugimura, that's the name of the head writer here. Did you just forget your own lore? I mean, then again, you did say in the. I mean, then again, this isn't the first time he's done that because in one of the first episodes of Jew Ranger, Geki says he has a little sister. He had a little sister, and then a couple of episodes later, we get a story arc revealing that he has a brother, and his sister's nowhere to be seen. So, I guess him forgetting his own lore is not completely out of the question. But yeah, didn't you find that a little confusing, Riz?
Just a tad.
Huh?
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
You know,
Just,
it's a big deal.
just a tiny bit.
Just a little bit.
I do like. I definitely feel that there's a good idea for the episode here, I, but I kind of feel that, like I said, they probably needed a little bit more build up toward the idea because what they're trying to do here now, all of a sudden, is imply that like there's more like hidden energy within Chouriki and trying to imply all this great stuff about it. And you just needed more build up, and you needed more episodes revolving around the story behind Chouriki, and how, and so that we can probably get some more payoff like this, because this truly does feel like they're just trying to use Chouriki. Like, Chouriki can do anything because it's ancient power, and they're just now bringing this up because it's the Endgame arc. It really does feel like the ultimate Deus Ex Machina type of thing.
Yeah, it really does feel like that they're trying to imply that Chouriki is like the power of nature or something, because when Doreen dies, the vegetation starts to wither immediately. If they establish at the beginning that this was going to be like a metaphor for nature versus machine, then I feel like that could have been a cool driving force from the start of the show, where it's Chouriki is Earth's energy being channeled through them, and they're fighting with Earth's own life force in some capacity. And it would have been an interesting idea, and I could have dug if it was done right. But this is like, okay, we're like 3 episodes from the ending, and now you say this? Okay, sure.
And the more that, like, we're saying that, like, they're implying that Chouriki is the power of Earth.
Ginga Man.
Yeah, exactly. The more I think about it, Yasuko Kobayashi probably watched this series and thought, wow, the way that they're doing Chouriki sure does suck. You're going to do that better. Here's a series called Seiji Sentai Gingaman.
Watch that instead.
You'll be happy.
Please.
Yeah, I don't know, like, at least with the previous episode, there was some momentum created, because it did kind of create like a dark and gritty feel with the base being destroyed and everything. But now all of a sudden we're just kind of pulling out this plot of how there's like more to Chouriki than we already know, like right out of nowhere. It like This is kind of where the end game arc is kind of starting to, like, you had. Okay, you didn't have that great momentum because your characters still aren't all that great, but you at least had something vaguely resembling momentum with the previous episode, and you're kind of starting to lose it here now.
Yeah, didn't you love the whole idea where she just suddenly yeeted the Ohrangers in the Great Pyramid, or summoned a pyramid, blew up the monster spontaneously, and then sent them to another dimension out of just with no explanation? What the heck happened in this episode?
Yeah,
it's just a bunch of assholes.
Yeah.
Like this somehow out Zoo Ranger. How'd you do that?
Isn't it the same guy?
Yes,
it is.
He somehow outdid himself with the pulling crap out of thin air thing.
Yeah, it made it hard to explain.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I gave the previous one a 6, but this one is probably more of a 4 or a 5.
That's I'll say a 4 is pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
Riz?
I'm gonna go to 5.
Okay. All right, episode 47, Stand, Shine, Revive, where the episode opens, the Ohrangers find themselves trapped in this demon dimension, is threatening to burn them alive, but then they get saved by one of the Doreen, so not the Doreen that we've been following, another one. They bring them to the homeworld of Chouriki. They see Doreen, the one that we've been following. She's the Doreen of Earth. She's injured and she's recovering from what happened in the previous episode. She urges the Ohrangers not to give up and unite their 5 hearts to restore Chouriki to Earth. Then the Ohrangers return to Earth to find that 6 months have passed since they left. The Baranoia, they've taken over the world. They have a palace built for them. There's an underground resistance group led by Ricky and Miura to fight against them. And the Ohrangers vow to fight back and retake Earth. The base for this resistance group gets infiltrated by the Baranoia. They capture Mikio and demand the Ohrangers surrender in exchange for his release. Miura, Ricky, and other personnel defend the base. The Ohrangers confront Buldon and Multiwa, and their determination to fight on and not give up brings out their inner Chouriki, which allows them to transform. The Ohrangers free Mikio, and they do battle with the Baranoia's forces, and the episode ends as they prepare for their final battle with Buldon and Multiwa. What do we think about this episode?
I love how all of their problems were solved by them
Not being there?
believing hard enough.
No, it was solved by them not being there, Patrick.
Was it?
They went away.
Mm-hmm.
They come back. There's a resistance.
Okay.
Like
That's
that.
it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not really enough, but okay.
I think my big issue here is that they're on the Chouriki homeworld too short. Because here's the thing, there's still the problem with the fact that they're all of a sudden just pulling out all these details from Chouriki right out of their butts here. But okay, if we look at this for what it is, you could have this episode revolve entirely around them being on the Chouriki homeworld and them learning more about secrets and kind of trying to figure out what's the true meaning behind Chouriki and how they can unlock it, how they can get ultimate power and blah blah blah. And then maybe have this episode end with them returning to Earth. Then you could have another episode that revolves entirely around them preparing to confront Buldon and Multiwa, and then add another episode because this is only 48 episodes, so it's not like Sentai having 49 or 50 episodes is something not unheard of because it's not. You could add one more episode that revolves around their final battle, because ultimately the only thing that happens is they show up to the Chouriki homeworld. Doreen tells them not to give up, and they're like, okay, and then they go home.
But the one thing that kind of it just seems to be it's very odd that there is a race of Dorian and the character's name is Doran.
That's what's been bugging me all this time, Anthony. I don't understand the race anymore, or maybe I never understood it. I don't know, but no, that's a very weird concept to me.
This would be like if you name an entire race African, that's you know what I'm saying? That just seems like and your name's African, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, it's easy when the whole species is literally just a clone of the same person.
Yeah.
My name is Doreen. My name is Doreen. Oh my god, we're the Doreen race. Clever writing.
She's Doreen.
Are there any other Doreens I should know about?
I'm Doreen. I'm out of here.
I'm out of here.
And are there only female Doreens? Because if that's the case, how does this species reproduce?
Don't ask questions. Just shut up.
Nathan. We don't need to ask how reproduction works in this season because you don't want to know how Buldon and Multiwa made the baby and how that baby will eventually grow up into becoming
oh boy!
Oh, when you bang two calculators
Start with I. Starts with I, Riz. Start with I.
No.
I know they're not going to say it, but I'm just saying, yeah.
Are they going to really, are they going to go off and rebuild a robot and be like, hey, so now that you're 2 years old, here's your 2-year-old body. Here's your 3-year-old body. Here's your 7-year-old body. How does this work? Did he just download her brain into the next one or what?
Yeah.
And then, yeah. I have thoughts, but I'm going to wait until we get to the end for the rest of them.
But yeah, this episode, I mean, like I said, there's enough of an idea here to where you could have expanded the season for one more episode, which would have given you more time for the Ohrangers to spend some more time on the Chouriki homeworld, and it would have been perfectly serviceable. But as it is, I mean, really the only thing that happens in this episode can be summed up in two sentences. The Ohrangers show up to the Chouriki homeworld. Dorian tells them not to give up. They say okay, then they go home and they prepare to fight against the Baranoia. Like that, and
Yeah,
that's just boring stuff.
yeah, the whole Doreen homeworld thing was worthless.
Yeah.
Also, I love how when they showcased it, it was just like a poorly layered over image of like some Egyptian city skyline over the water. Like that's it. That's all there is to it. Are you serious?
And ultimately, like we don't like all the Ohrangers had to do was just not give up, and that restores their powers. I mean, okay,
But they weren't doing that earlier.
Yeah, and I really hate to give G
They
Ranger
had to
credit
ask
here.
the Wild Force team how to not give up. It's okay, guys.
I really hate to give G Ranger credit here, but
Then don't.
this Endgame Arc actually worked a bit better in G Ranger because at least with G Ranger they actually had to go through some type of trial.
For
Like there was
once.
some legitimate trial and like fight that they had to go through. Like they had to get this door to open. Now the way that the door opened with Burai just showing up in Deus Ex Machina was stupid, but they had to go into hell itself and fight a bunch of previously destroyed monsters without their powers in order to restore their guardian beasts. Like they had to actually fight to get their powers back. With Ohranger, they just got to do what they've kept on doing this whole time.
Yeah, if it was like a revelation of like what we were talking about earlier of Chouriki being like planet life force or something, then they could maybe do a thing of, well, you just need to become in tune with nature or something. And then when they feel like this is some cheesy crap, but just go with it here. They hear like the planet crying out for them to help. They could like channel it through like some weird nature connected thing or whatever. Like, I know this is like Ginga Man kind of stuff, but if they went that route, this wouldn't be bad.
No, it wouldn't.
Because like the more we talk about it and the more we expand on how we could have made this better, it's literally just Ginga Man again. And there's nothing wrong with that because the concept is good. They could have just made it more like mystical-ish in nature.
Yeah.
Than they did but in Ginga Man, but you can expand on this. There's some good ideas here. It's just that, just like what we said with Zoo Ranger, they just didn't bother to expand on any of this.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm probably going to give this one a 4 as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Riz?
Yeah, probably a 4.
All right, cool. Let's take a look at the last Ohranger episode now to finally wrap this up. Final episode, The Heroes of Love, where the episode opens up. The Ohrangers, they're battling against Boldon and Multiwa. Boldon kidnaps a baby, forces the Ohrangers to de-henshin, and then he beats them down, but then Goro frees it. The Ohrangers transform again. They overpower Boldon and Multiwa, forcing them to enlarge as a last resort. The Ohrangers fight back in Ohranger Robo. Ricky and Miura break into the Baranoia Palace so that they can free O-Blocker and Red Puncher. Gun Majin shows up once again in Deus Ex Machina form to help free them. Ohranger Robo, Red Puncher, O-Blocker, and Tackle Boy. They overpower Boldon and Multiwa. Then they form King Pyramid or Battle Formation to finish them off once and for all. Although Boldon vows the machines can never be destroyed. Then the Ohrangers go into the Baranoia Palace. They confront Hysteria, Acha, Kocha, and a baby that Boldant and Multiwa had. Riz and I already kind of just talked about how disturbing this is before, so we're not going to go into detail with that. And Hysteria urges the Ohrangers to take care of her grandchild. Then she self-destructs herself. And the Ohrangers say, well, if Hysteria was able to feel love for her grandchild, then maybe machines aren't heartless. So they decide to spare the baby. And we get a final scene at the beach where so Gunmajin is going to take the child into his care. He's going to raise it. Acha and Kocha are also joining him, so he's going to reform them. So yeah, Auric the Conqueror, Clank and Orbis, all just about to be really good friends from here, and they depart Earth. They promise to come back if they're ever called. The Ohrangers gather with Miura. Miura claims that a new mission to restore nature and love begins. Ricky gets reunited with Doreen, and the two run off into the woods, and that's how Ohranger ends. What did we think about this last episode?
Anticlimactic, I guess is the word I want to use.
Yeah. I mean, it is anticlimactic. There's no two ways about it. Like, the problem I had with it was this. The end fight was just King Paramiter being King Paramiter. There wasn't like any, thing to it.
It really does mirror the Zoranger one, where they form Ultimate Daijujin and then they just eviscerate Daisakusen immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Way to
That was
go.
easy. That was easy.
Yeah, no. Like, there's no intensity here. Like, this wasn't like Shinkano charging at Dokuku while the pieces of Samurai Hao were getting blown off of him, type of stuff. There's some intensity there. This was just we're gonna blow these guys up like the daily monster of the week. Like, come on.
Yeah, or like the final battle with Bokinger, where they're going through all their different mech formations and just throwing everything they got at the final villain until they finally take him down, like stuff like that. And to kind of go off of what Patrick was saying, that I kind of hinted at this in the previous podcast. My issue here is that this is probably it's even worse than the Dai Satan final battle, because here this new final battle, and this is what Riz and I were talking about off screen, was it feels like the Ohrangers are in control of this battle the entire time, because they're overpowering Boldon and Multiwa. Boldon tries to kidnap a baby. He's only able to get the upper hand because he forces the Ohrangers to de-henshin. Then the Ohrangers henshin again. What happens? They get overpowered and they have to enlarge. And even then, once the Ohrangers have all their mechs back, they're just completely overwhelming these people. So it's not even just a matter of, oh, we're defeating them the same way that we defeat the main villains. Like, the way that you were manhandling Boldont and Multiwa already, did you even need King Pyramider to fight them off? Like, Bacchus Rat's defeat felt more like a fitting final battle, because they actually had to do something that they had not had done before. And the reason why this contradicts the previous one is that wasn't Multiwa overpowering the Ohrangers and Gunmajin by herself in her debut episode? Now all of a sudden she's so weak when fighting alongside Boldont. Like, and I think what you were trying to say, Release, about how they Bacchus Wrath just gave his remaining energy to Boldont, so it's not like he had all of Bacchus Wrath's energy, but Boldont also has his own energy there. So I would expect Boldont to put up a little bit more. I get it if maybe he's not as powerful as Bacchus Wrath, but I'd expect him to be a lot stronger than this. Like, a lot stronger to where
definitely.
being defeated by King Pyramid or battle formation so easily is not how he goes out.
And here's a way you can fix that. going back to the conversation we had earlier about maybe Chouriki being the Earth's life force and going to the Doran planet allowed them to understand that and fully channel it. Now that they've fully understood what it is and how to tap it and how to utilize it, now they are inherently stronger than him.
But Patrick.
Yeah, but saying that's how you could explain it if you wrote this right.
But Patrick.
There's a simple explanation for that.
Yeah. Yeah, but we didn't get that. We didn't get any build-up or lore that could have explained anything. It's just what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to like write in ways to how this could have been written better.
But, I mean, the problem is there's so many question marks here.
Mm-hmm.
Like question mark number 1, and we're going back to fundamentals here. Get the Chouriki story straight from the get-go.
Yeah.
Make it make sense all the way through. That's problem number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Problem number 2. Work in the Riki or King Ranger Doran thing earlier. Like you said a couple of podcasts ago. Have the King Ranger symbol flashing on screens every now and then to signify something coming. Explain the Dorian planet beforehand. Explain that Dorian is a race, not a little girl. Because I thought that was his little sister for most of the season. And then explain more of what is Riki. If he's not a human, what is he? How is he different? What are his unique traits to make him different? Because he's this human guy who is absent more often than Tommy Oliver was in Mighty Morphin, mind you.
That's actually pretty sad if you really think about it.
It is.
It is. And there's a reason he's actually absent, thanks Sentai. But no, Riki needed some reason to be absent. Like, was he off world doing a quest? Was he out, like, doing something? He needed something there to help him. So we needed that. Then we needed to explain how do you tie the Chouriki powers to the Doran, to the Ohranger team, and how do you even access the powers really? I mean, you don't really even explain how they created the Ohranger powers. They just said, oh yeah, we found these artifacts and now we have these powers and mechs and everything. Like, what exactly are they doing, or how are they harnessing the power? How are they using it? These are all very rudimentary, basic questions that we need to have answered for anything to make sense.
Yep.
And then once you get to that point, then we can start to flesh out other things in this world. I don't know if we're talking about beyond this episode yet, but I'm starting to move into like my season thoughts here, FYI, and y'all can just deal with it.
But I'd probably just give the final episode probably a 4 or a 5.
Yeah,
just to wrap up
it's getting a 4.
I'm gonna give it a 4.5, and I'll continue my rant now.
Go for it.
Going to the Baranoia now. The Baranoia made sense in the beginning. And honestly, the Zeo Machine Empire makes a lot more sense than Baranoia in terms of who they are and what they're trying to do and everything. Simply because, at least when we had King Mondo and the Machine Empire, we understood that they're robots and they don't really age or grow up or anything. But in Baranoia world, when they spawned the kid as a baby, and the kid is actually mentally a baby, then that implies that over time its AI will evolve to not be a baby, and then it'll have to get a new body and evolve into that. So what, they're going to just download the brain into like a body and move it on every once in a year?
Something they could have done, I think, would have been an interesting twist on that, is that they said that the old civilization built the Baranoia. What if the thing that made the Baranoia so unique was that they found a way to infuse like human DNA into them?
Yeah, and they should have done
Yeah.
that because
Then that way they could have explained, well, they have human-like reproduction because of this. They grow normally, naturally, and stuff.
and then it would also explain Queen Messina's like reason for caring about the kid and
Yeah.
yielding her life to protect the kid.
Mhm. Yeah,
Because
because
it doesn't make sense otherwise. Because they went
No.
the entire season saying, "Yo, we want to not care about humans. They're meat bags. They have stupid emotions. They don't make any sense." What does Queen Messina do?
hysteria, yeah, she kills herself.
Yeah, Queen Hysteria turns hysterical.
Yeah, exactly.
It's in the name.
Mhm.
So no, like those small things that we take for granted in a normal Sentai, those are important. Those are things that we need, and we don't
Yeah.
get them. So I don't know. I mean, it's unfortunate, right? Like that we don't have any real way to really, make sense of it.
Yeah. Just like with Zoo Ranger, if they just sat down and fleshed the story out in any conceivable way, it would have improved the show dramatically.
Agreed.
Because the foundation for both of these seasons is ripe for good story, found like backstories, everything. It's just they chose to just give us the bare minimum, and it sucks.
It does. It
Yeah.
really does suck.
Although I would say that the Baranoia probably rank. I mean, not to say that they're like a top 10 or top, okay, maybe top 20 if we want to dig deep into it, but lower top 20. But I would still say that they're a lot better than Bondora's gang, just because they
Yes.
had some memorable elements.
Yeah, I mean, everything that went wrong with the writing with them, I do think Bolt Hunt taking over as the leader did mildly salvage them as one of the more memorable parts of this season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah, I mean, we don't really have to dig much into the individual ones, because I mean, Bulldog was pretty cool, but everything else is just kind of, I mean, these people are not the Byram at all. None of these
Not even
people are Bray or
close.
anything.
Not even close.
No. Well, I mean, that's a high bar to set it to. We could even go to like lesser villains throughout.
Like the Gadoshu were better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What ones are the Godotsu?
Shinkenger.
Yeah.
And they were the weakest part of Shinkenger, and they're still better than this.
The Gokai villains are also,
Yeah, I would say
comparable.
the Zongyak were a
Yeah.
bit more memorable.
The
I
Danya
still
are on
th-
par.
I know y'all won't agree with this, but I still think that the Godoshu are way more memorable than the Gokaiger Zangak villains. That's just my personal opinion.
Well, I would say so too, just because the Juzo, Fuwa, and Dayu stuff. I mean,
But we
it's the
had
most
Bosco.
memorable. Yeah, but I mean, Juzo
Bosco's
and
his
Dayu.
own. Bosco's
He's not even
kind
part of
his
Zangak.
own-
He's his own thing.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
his own thing.
But as long as you recognize that Bosco,
But I
can
don't
take
count
Zuzo
him
to
as part
fight.
of the
Yeah.
Zangak organization.
No, but like I said, as long as we could acknowledge that Bosco can take Zuzo in a fight any day of the week, I will admit you're right, Anthony.
I don't care about.
Oh, I never
said
said that. I never said that he would. I never said that he.
I don't
couldn't
care
fight him.
who would win in a fight. I just want to see that fight.
Yeah,
Bosco v Juzo would be sick.
Also, I would love to see Takeru versus Marvelous.
Oh man, two skilled swordsmen showing off against each other. Yeah, come on, someone do it. Please, someone
that.
do it.
'Cause I don't actually know
I
who
feel
would
like we
win
could have
that one.
almost gotten that with that what is it, that Sentai special Psycho battle. We could have almost got that, but we never
But
did.
they didn't bring Takeru.
If only Ghost Sager didn't exist in between them, that could have been the crossover movie.
You know, I
It
always
is-
figured Ghost
Yeah, I
Sager
know.
it's just in the middle. I always think it goes Samurai to them.
It's just a reason to take Go Sager now, isn't it?
No, it robbed us of a Gokaiser Shinkenger crossover movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway,
The only thing good
notable stuff.
about a Ghost Ager, but only thing good about a Ghost Ager and Shikinger crossover is the Shikingers. That's it.
That movie
Oh, no.
genuinely is good, though.
Yeah, I think the Ghost Singers are
It
actually
is.
okay in that movie. But anyway, so we talked about the Baranoia. The only really notable supporting character, I mean, sure, there's like recurring characters here and there, but they don't really leave that much of an impression. So I guess the only person we could talk about is Miura. Like, how would we rank him among like other mentors?
He's very
5.
one note. Yeah, he's 5 because he's a one note character. He's not bad, but there's also nothing about him that's
So
interesting.
here's all he does. He stands there, he looks all serious, and he throws out a new mech whenever you need one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I kind of wish that they had more depth to him because again, his actor is awesome. He played my favorite of the original 5 Go Rangers, but I mean, this is like the equivalent of like if in Dino Thunder, instead of having JDF coming back to play Tommy, he's coming back to just play a completely new character who's not Tommy. And all he does is just kind of spew out some typical wisdom stuff here and there. And I mean, okay, I guess the novelty of having JDF as that character is great, but it he's not doing much. So it just kind of sucks ultimately. But yeah, I'd
It
probably say that
might
he's probably
it
go ahead,
might
Patrick.
have helped, and I know that Sentai wasn't big on doing anything related to continuity at this point. If that was actually Ohranger,
I mean, it just kind of sucks that this Sentai didn't really come out nowadays because nowadays it seems like Sentai is like much cooler with just bringing back old characters. I mean, we had Speedor show up God knows how many times in Boom Boomger last year. So it's like,
Hey, Speedor deserved to come back. I don't care what you say.
dang
oh,
right.
yeah, I know, that's great. But so it's like if this had come out like in a more recent time, they probably would have just straight up just gone the route of having him be Ohranger.
hmm
Um, but yeah, he's probably like a C tier mentor. I mean, he's better than Barza. I would probably say that. Well, I need to watch Ranger again before I rank this guy next to Master Kaku. But
Oh God. Oh, trust me. There's a lot to talk about with that guy.
okay,
I'm looking right at the finale arc again.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I would say that the best mentor character that we've taken a look on this at least on Toku Secrets thus far, is probably G from Shinkenger. But he doesn't really compare to that guy in the slightest. Um, but yeah, now we can move on and usually this is a kind of a long one, but in this case, I highly doubt it's going to be that long. We give our final tier rankings for all the Ohrangers, and I'm assuming that Patrick's is going to be the same. But Patrick, if you want to say your famous phrase, you can go ahead.
Well, there's one extra person here, so it doesn't work anymore. So I'm just going to say I see 6 F grades standing right in front of me, and I'm going to judge them harshly. Shun these characters. Like, none of them have anything. Like, outside of Goro and Ricky, I'm looking at these names and I forgot that the other 4 had names. I don't care about any of these people. I mean, is it wrong for me to say that they're all F tier characters, Nate?
I mean,
I think that's perfectly fair.
I'm gonna go with D tier for all of them minus Ricky.
Yeah. I mean, sure. But Ricky, at least being an F tier, good. He's the worst Sixth Ranger in the series.
Well, I mean, like for me, I wanted to like Ricky. I really did want to like Ricky.
Yeah.
And I thought he had some good moments. But then Ricky just kind of he he didn't
Disappear
he
into
didn't do
obscurity.
anything. Yeah, he just doesn't come around ever. He just doesn't do anything. It's like, what are you doing here, my dude? What's your point?
Yeah, he just, oh, I'm here. I'm only here in costume. I only show up in with Great Pyramid, or I don't show up for 2 episodes. Like, where's the consistency here?
There isn't any.
Yeah, like the 2 before him and the 1 after him, there were good reasons. Bry was trying not to die. Kiba Ranger was trying to be secretive. Mega Silver realized he was actually more valuable not being Mega Silver.
Yeah,
But what's his excuse?
nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and even with like other sixth rank, well, I guess you can't necessarily count Time Fire because he was in every episode that after he originally debuted. But even if Naoto didn't appear in an episode or 2, well, okay, but he's not part of the team. He's kind of acting
Exactly.
separately. So there's
Mhm.
an excuse for him not to be. I mean, like, in Time Force, there's a bunch of episodes after Eric first appears where Eric doesn't appear, but he's with the Silver Guardian, so he's not with the main team. So it's kind of an explanation. That's a perfectly fine explanation on why Eric is not
Mhm.
present. But with Ko, no, not with Ko, with Ricky. Sorry, I'm jumping ahead of myself with another terrible Sixth Ranger. Um, uh, with Ricky, it's like you have no reason not to join the Ohrangers. In fact, if anything, your stated mission to protect Doreen kind of means that it's an imperative that you should be fighting alongside them 20 all the time.
Yeah.
You don't show up. They give us this big backstory on how you have a rivalry with Bacchus Wrath that goes nowhere because you're not even in with the final battle with Bacchus Wrath. You have absolutely no impact on the rest of the story. And that's why I call this guy the worst, because even with other Six Rangers that are not necessarily great, there's at least an attempt to put some effort into them. Like with Ko, okay, he's a terrible Sixth Ranger. He's bad, I'm not gonna lie.
Who?
But
Kiba
Kiba Ranger.
Ranger.
Oh, okay,
But
Ko.
but there's some backstory given to him, and there's a little bit, and they try to do something with him. Like they try to do something with him. And with Gao Silver is another kind of lame Sixth Ranger, but I don't really like. He at least has some story to him, especially with his debut. It's pretty much the same as Merrick's story with Zenaku. There's a little bit of a story. And Patrick, I know that you're not a big fan of Mega Silver, but he at least has personality, and
Yeah.
he adds something to the story in some extent. Like he is responsible for creating a piece of the Mega Rangers arsenal, and he does help
Mhm.
them from time to time.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Mega Silver's role is very bizarre.
yeah, but he at least has a role. You can
Yeah.
take Ricky out of the series, have no Sixth Ranger whatsoever, and nothing of substance would be of lost in this
Mhm.
Sentai. He is, and I keep saying this, he is useless. I have never seen a more useless Sixth Ranger ever in any Tokusatsu show.
Mm-mm.
And that's why I call this guy the worst Sentai Sixth Ranger ever. And I mean, even from like even just from a stylistic perspective, I mean, okay, his suit is pretty cool. I'll give it that. The more I think about it, I probably like that suit more than Kiba Ranger, but his
Mhm.
weapon is not that memorable. I probably prefer the Ju Soken and the Biao Shinken, whatever saga was called in
Bakaru
Guy
Shinken,
Ranger.
yeah.
And his mech is one of the worst Sixth Ranger mechs in all of Sentai. Outside of his suit, there is nothing redeemable about
Mhm.
Ricky. Nothing. Not even
How do we
his
compare him to the worst Sixth Ranger in Power Rangers? Like, is he the worst Sixth Ranger, period?
Honestly, the more I think about it, yeah, because
Who
I
would we
mean,
mark as the worst Sixth in Power Rangers? Omega?
uh, well, I don't know. It's kind of unfair. I don't know. Omega Ranger is so easy that it's kind of unfair in that regard. Um, But even then with Sam, I mean, he at least had a 2-part episode when he was a kid, so there's something there.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know. Like, if we want to compare him to the Omega Ranger, then yeah, that might be the best comparison. But if we want to compare to someone who actually has a straight up civilian form, I guess the worst. And even then, I feel bad because he actually kind of redeemed himself in Cosmic Fury. But if we're talking about pure Dino Fury Ion, honestly, I would probably say that Ion is still better than this guy.
Yeah, I would go that far.
Well, okay, it's either Dino Fury era Ion because Ion got a lot better in Cosmic Fury, so I'm not going to fault him there. It would either be him or possibly Tyson from Operation Overdrive.
Tyson has a very fleshed out story too.
Yeah,
So yeah, maybe Ricky is the worst Sixth Ranger between both shows. Actually,
Dang.
what a loser!
because even though Jason wasn't the best as the Gold Ranger, he's still Jason. He's still there. He's interacting with the team. He's being his own character.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not amazing, but it's something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Ricky. Here's your bum reward, idiot.
Like, Riz, would you agree that maybe Ricky could be the worst Sixth Ranger in all of Tokusatsu?
No, because I haven't seen all of Sentai Six Rangers yet.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, I still have a couple to see as well. But yeah, I mean,
But of the ones that I've seen, like, okay, so here's my thing. I try to not give the F rank to characters written this badly. I try to put them into D tier. They go into F tier when they start to piss me off. And Ricky hasn't really pissed me off. He's just a heaping mound of disappointment.
Mm-hmm.
And so I typically will put him into D tier because with those kind of characters, typically, there is an attempt to try and do something with him. It's just not a good attempt, if that makes sense. But with Ricky being absent for 10 episodes out of his 14 or 15 episodes he's around,
yeah,
he doesn't deserve anything more than F tier because he's not even a character. He's just like a really badass suit. Like, I love the suit. That's all he has going for him is I love the suit.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else, nah, dude. Take it back.
Yeah. So, Anka, if you're listening to this, and we know that you are, do what you can to try to make Ricky into a better character.
You don't have to try very hard.
You know what the sad part is?
What's that?
I have to go read his scripts and see if they're any good compared to what we have in Ohranger.
I mean, I'm pretty sure he's adding details. That's more than what this has. So
yeah,
I don't know how you can make this worse.
But yeah,
well,
just
you have to try.
I hope Octavia can do it then.
You have to really try to make this worse.
Yeah. But as for the rest, I mean, Ricky is an F. Everybody else I would just effectively put in D tier. I mean, I guess technically Jury is my favorite because she's had 1 or 2 episodes where she's shined. So by default, she's my favorite. But
I'll put Jury in a C tier, actually.
I mean, I guess it's kind of justifiable because she has some episodes where she's a character, but yeah, I mean, everybody else,
yeah.
But I mean, you have the worst Sixth Ranger ever, so that's an accomplishment, just not something that you would want to be an accomplishment.
Hang the banner. Worst Sixth Ranger ever. Yay!
Yeah, but Anthony, how would you tier these guys up?
Honestly, I do not care.
Yeah, that's just this Sentai in a nutshell, isn't it, guys?
Anthony's like, it's not worth the energy.
Yeah.
Anthony's like, Anthony want out.
Yeah.
Let me out. Let me out.
Give me.
I want out of here.
Okay, well,
Anthony
to close
said,
this
"Let me
out,
out."
let's give our final tiering. We can either give it a tier or give it a rating out of 10 on our just some final thoughts on Ohranger as a whole, so we can wrap this up.
Yeah. I don't remember what I gave Zoolanger. I think I gave it like a 2. This I have it slightly above Zoolanger as my second least favorite Sentai. The main reason is Boltunt's resurrection is interesting, and it's more interesting than anything Zoolanger did. But it's just as bad in like many other cases. This season is just atrocious. And I think 2 is the only reasonable rating I can give it. It's one of those seasons where if you want to watch it just to say you've seen it, fine. If you only want to watch good seasons, do not touch this crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would probably give it like a 2 or something like that, and it would definitely be like I mean, if I'm doing this from a tier, it's probably a low D, high F, and honestly, the part where I'm going to differ with Patrick is that I would probably say that this is actually honestly, this is probably Sugimura's worst Sentai. The other ones being the first 3 before this, because at least with the other Sentai that were the other 2 Sentai that he did that were bad, Jew Ranger and Die Ranger, at the very least, as bland as those characters were, and don't get me wrong, they're bad. Okay, they're horrendous, but there's at least basic one-dimensional personalities with those characters. You know, like Geki is the brave, stern leader. Goshi's the serious, intelligent member. Don is kind of courageous, but also kind of a hot-headed idiot. Boy is the young, wide-eyed, curious optimist, and May is the girl. Burai's a loner, and in the case of Die Ranger, Rio's kind of the leader. Daigo's serious. Soji's an idiot. Kazu is like this flamboyant hairdresser, and Rin is the girl, and Ko is just this idiot kid. There's okay, they're not well-developed characters, but they're at least some
You can say
basic
something.
personalities I can
Yeah,
get off of
Yeah.
them.
fair enough.
With the Ohrangers, you can all just blend in together into this one bland character. And here's the thing: if this was a Showa era type of season, maybe I would forgive it. But there are Showa era seasons that have characters with much more clear personalities than this. And this came out in the 90s when Sentai had taken so many steps forward in terms of character development. I mean, we had arguably one of the greatest Sentai Rangers of all time just a couple of years ago in Jetman. There is no excuse for a team to be this bland and this forgettable at this point in Sentai. And that is why I would probably say that this is worse than G Ranger.
Understandable. I mean, at the end of the day, like I've been saying a lot through this, we're comparing 2 piles of trash.
Exactly.
Who cares?
Yeah.
It's up to preference at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to say like G Ranger's bad, horrendous even, but there's at least an attempt to give the G Rangers personalities.
I'll give you that point.
Anthony, you want to go next? Anthony.
I honestly just wanted to get it over with so I can go to bed.
Anthony be like, please let me out.
He ranks it
Fair
I
enough.
want to go to bed out of 10, which I understand completely.
And Riz, what
Whatever
about
the
you?
lowest ranking is my answer.
I'm gonna give this a D. I think there are worse seasons that I've seen. We all know what I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna even bother saying it this time.
Yeah.
But I think this is a D. It had really bad writing. Characters had no development, but it didn't piss me off. I never once screamed at the TV. So I count it as a win.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
that's
probably what
actually one of
ultimately not
I
put it
guess
in
that
the
is I
FF,
guess that is
but
one I guess that is one reason why I prefer this over Zoo Ranger, because Zoo Ranger did make me rage.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. Like, if you think back, Patrick, to when we were like big on like the other podcast that we had,
Yeah.
we would talk about how much we would scream at Overdrive, right?
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And we said that was like the worst thing in all of creation. But we've never screamed at this one because we don't care enough to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. That's why I wouldn't definitively put this in F, but I would still say it's worse than G Ranger.
Well, we're done with this, thank God.
Patrick wants to
Yeah.
go to bed now.
No, I want to do literally anything else to talk about this show anymore.
Cool, because I have stuff to talk to you about.
But yeah,
Okay.
that we are officially done with G Ranger. O Ranger, where we've been done with G Ranger, but now we're done with O Ranger as well. So yeah, at long last, we're finally done with this absolute nightmare. But the good news is that we got a lot of great stuff planned for you guys. So to kind of announce some of our future stuff. So we're actually not going to be doing. We're going to be doing a Power Ranger season next, but we're not going to be doing Zeo. We're instead going to be doing something else, which will actually probably, interestingly enough, be posted before this podcast. You guys will get to see that when it comes out. But the next Sentai that we're going to be taking a look at is going to be the Sentai counterpart of that season. We are taking a look at Mahu Sentai Magi Ranger, because we want to take a look at Mystic Force in celebration of there being a big Mystic Force reunion at Ranger Stop and Pop. So once we take a look at Mystic Force, we'll then be taking a look at Magi Ranger. That'll be our next one. And then after that, we are basically going to be going through all of the remaining, for lack of a better term, Zordon era Sentais. So we're going to be taking a look at Sugimura's two remaining Sentais that we haven't taken a look at, which is Die Ranger and Kaku Ranger. Patrick is looking forward to both of those for very different reasons. And then we're going to take a look at Car Ranger and Mega Ranger. We'll be taking a look at all of the crossover movies that we're going to end up having to take a look at by taking a look at those Sentais. And then after we're done with all of those, then we'll basically review all Zordon era season Power Rangers in order. So Mighty Morphin Season 2, Mighty Morphin Season 3, Zeo, Turbo, In Space, etc. We'll be doing all of those in order. So we got a lot of great stuff planned for you guys. Way beyond that as well, but we'll talk about those other plans that we have beyond those when we get a little bit closer to when we'll be taking a look at that. But we're also going to be continuing to take a look at Go Juju. So even though we just finished a really boring Sentai that we're very likely going to forget just as soon as we're done with this, we got a lot more fun stuff. Some great, some not so great, but fun stuff is planned for you guys nevertheless. And we hope you guys will join us for all of that. But until then, bye for now. If you enjoyed listening to the Toku Secrets Podcast, please check us out at animesecrets.org and follow us on all our social media pages such as Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And also feel free to check out our other podcasts, including Animated Classified and the Jedi Squadron. You can also leave us any feedback you'd like to offer us directly on our website. If you're listening to this on Spotify or iTunes, we thank you so much, and please leave us a rating out of 5 stars. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel if you're not already subscribed, and leave any comments down below, as we love to take the time to read comments left on our channel and give our fans, shout-outs. If you have any seasons of Super Sentai, Power Rangers, or other Tokusatsu shows that you'd like for us to check out, please don't hesitate to say so in your feedback. With all that said, we thank you so much for taking the time to listen to our podcast, and we will see you next time as we continue our never-ending journey through the world of Tokusatsu. But until that time, you all stay safe, we love you, and may the power protect you.